and the Frenchman Patrick Onta is the scrum half in 7. Carl Harrison, the Great Britain international prop forward, wears 8. His international colleague Lee Jackson is the hooker, wearing 9. And it's a full international front row because Andy Dannett is there in 10. Ian Marlowe is coming to the end of his first full season in the game in 11. Russ Walker, the Cumbrian, wears 12. And John Sharp, a slight doubt about his injury, but he is in 13. And the coach, the Australian, Noel Cleal. Now, it has been quite a build-up for these two sides. The tension has been mounting. How has Noel Cleal, the Hull coach, been coping with all that pressure?
There's been pressure since Smithy left. You know, it's I suppose this is a little, there's added spice to this pressure because it's such an important occasion. But you know, I think if you can overcome things like that, well, you're halfway there. So you know, as yet all my hair hasn't fallen out, or ulcers haven't taken a set. So just poke along and see how we go.
The team must be really fired up for it, though.
Yeah, the motivation's there. They're a side that's playing with a lot of emotion at the moment, and they're playing well too. So you know, we're going to have to be on our toes to overcome them.
And the side that Hull face with Old Trafford beckoning is Leeds. John Gallagher is the fullback in 1. Vince Fawcett is on the wing, he wears 2. And Carl Gibson, Great Britain international, is in 3. The goal kicker, Simon Irving, completes the centre lineup in 4. And Phil Ford is back to his best, he wears 5. The captain, Gary Schofield, needs no introduction, and Paul Harkin, who wears 7, well, he's figured in 4 Premiership finals, 3 of them for Hull Kingston Rovers. Roy Powell is the international prop forward at 8. Richard Gunn takes the place of the suspended Colin Maskill at 9. Sean Wayne, he's been Leeds' best forward all season in 10. The Queenslander Cavill Hugh wears 11. Paul Dixon, Great Britain international, wears 12. And Gary Devorty, a former Hull man, he wears 13. The coach is David Ward. And how important is it for Leeds to get to a major final?
Well, it's very important, as it is to all. I mean, we all want to play in finals, and at Old Trafford next week it'll be a great occasion, but we've got 80 minutes of football here.
At least you have the consolation of going into a game like this knowing you have one of the best attacking lineups in the league.
Yes, that's sure, and everybody's confident of our attacking play, that we can score points. Because obviously, like I said to you about a fortnight ago, that we've got to tighten up in defence, and you can't be laying 20 points in expecting to win.
Obviously, on that Castleford game, you must have been pleased with the commitment to the side, but is the defence again what you stressed to them going into this one?
Like every game, defence and eliminate mistakes in cup-tie football, and that'll win you the ball game, especially with the attacking qualities that we've got in the side.
Paul Eastwood, the Hull winger, goal kicker, 115 goals from this fellow this season and 14 tries. Played in the 89 Premiership final against Widnes. Would love to be there again against them next week. He's ever present in this Hull team. A grey and very cold night. You would think by May the 5th we would perhaps be warming up in the rugby league world, but none of it. It really is chilly here on Humberside tonight. And there is Simon Irving. If Paul Eastwood is a key for Hull, Simon Irving is for Leeds. He's scored 98 goals and 240 points so far this season. The former Headingley Rugby Union star made his debut last August against Bradford. He'd love to get to the Premiership final to cap a wonderful season. Nerves showing. And I've said it's cold. It certainly is up here on the gantry. I wonder what it is downstairs with Peter Hutton with his weather report.
Well, it's certainly cold down here. You know, Hull's twinned with Reykjavik, and a night like tonight, you can certainly understand why. Let's look at the details of the weather for this evening. The forecast, cold and cloudy. The temperature, 3 degrees C, but made even worse by that very strong northerly wind, which may affect the kicking tonight as well.
Yes, it's a very cold northerly wind, believe me, and it is blowing strongly. Greg Mackey with the club mascot preparing to get this game underway, and there is the match referee Robin Whitfield, who's travelled over here from Widnes, and I know there is a 2.5-year-old youngster watching this match with great interest. That's Sean Whitfield, Robin's son. He's a big fan of the rugby league on Sky Sports. Paul Harkin, 4 Premiership finals for this fellow, 3 of them with Hull Kingston Rovers, and last year he was there with Bradford Northern. And what a wonderful end to the season, an in-and-out season where Leeds are concerned, it must be said, if they could make it to that wonderful jamboree. Gary Devorty played for Hull in the 1989 Premiership final against Widnes, also in 1985 at Wembley. We're live and exclusive here on Sky Sports tonight as Gary Schofield gets this important match underway. Richard Gay gives it to John Sharp. Talking to Noel Cleal yesterday, he said that Sharp had a problem with an injury, but Sharp had promised him at least an hour out there on the pitch. Big match, Mike, lots of tension.
Certainly is, and look for the Hull forwards. They'll mix it, match it. Very tough game expected.
Leeds will have to keep Hull down there in their own half for the opening 20 minutes. The Humbersiders will throw everything they've got at the men from Headingley. This is Onta. It's a good ball. It's Marlowe. Ian Marlowe, debut against Leeds in September. Mackey's kick ahead. First touch for John Gallagher. What a season this fellow has had. A real introduction to the paid ranks. It looks like tonight's going to be no different.
In fact, I think that Gallagher will be put under a lot of pressure. I'm sure that Noel Cleal, the Hull coach, will want his players especially to use the high bomb.
Certainly has had a lot of questions asked about him all season, John Gallagher. This is his opposite number, Richard Gay, in possession. Ford and Irving have him deep in his own quarter. Brad Webb. Good tackling from Leeds early on this. But Robin Whitfield has caught Carl Gibson offside. The Leeds number 3.
Well, here you see, there you can see the referee Whitfield looking across. Well, Gibson didn't take much of a step, but according to this fellow, it was enough.
And so Paul Eastwood has this penalty. Another man who played in the 89 Premiership final against Widnes. And that was one for us on the gantry. Thanks, Paul. And Mike Stevenson dropped it.
Actually, the little hair that I've got, he took it off, I think.
Patrick Onta. Carl Harrison smiled as he went towards Carl Gibson then. One of the biggest and one of the smallest on the field. This is Lee Jackson ducking under the challenge. And the referee Whitfield has pinned Leeds with a swinging arm. And he wants a word with Sean Wayne.
Well, no doubt about it. You saw that on the replay. Sean Wayne swinging it through. And at the same time, Whitfield, this is the experience of a good referee. There's a referee. There's Ward, sorry. But the referee very quick to pull in Gary Schofield, the Leeds captain, and tell him, look, we want none of this. It looks like we're going to get a good game of football tonight.
Robin Whitfield said he thought it would be a classic before the match. And number 10, Dannett, has dropped it. And Gibson has it back for Leeds, but look where they are, right on their own try line. First time Hull were in the Leeds quarter, then they dropped it.
Well, a lot of nerves will be involved tonight, but we've seen already from the Hull side what I expected, and they're going to use this big pack of forwards. They're going to try to go right down the middle.
Harkins kick ahead. His tactics will be important tonight. Richard Gay traps it, then collects. Goes round the tackle from Devorty, but can't get away from Roy Powell or Simon Irving. Good chasing by Leeds. Mackey to Onta. There's Marlowe again. Really have been impressed by this Ian Marlowe every time we've been up on Humberside in his debut season. He's 27 years old, so he's no youngster. But he has impressed us every time we've been here. Jackson is the dummy half. That now is Dannett. Forwards testing each other out, following a similar pattern. Mackey's kick ahead, judged to perfection. Great kick.
Well, he was taken after kicking the ball, but the Leeds player had committed himself. There was nothing, no foul. He did use a little bit of an elbow. I think he milked it there on the Academy Act. But let's not forget, Eddie, that in January when Leeds came up here, Hull threw all their moves at them, and they really just blitzed Leeds.
They did. It was 34-14 that night. An emotional evening here at the Boulevard as Brian Smith bade farewell to the crowd and the players for St George in Sydney. Really was only going to be one winner that night. That was Hull. I think it's a little more open to doubt this evening, as Schofield uses the wind to kick into no man's land to try and give Ford a run. McGarry has it, and McGarry showing a clean pair of heels, but that's good tackling by Fawcett. He just managed to flick it was Neil Turner actually, and he lost a boot in the process.
Another good tactics by Leeds, kicking from the scrum win. Remember, all the clubs in England and Australia, they play with their fullback up. That really was good tactics. It put Hull under a lot of pressure.
Good run by Turner it was too. This now is Sharp. And there's Noel Cleal watching from the bird's nest here at the Boulevard. Having a good vantage point. Watching his side, give the ball away. Cavalier has it for Leeds. Powell's the dummy half. This now is Sean Wayne, right down the middle. Oh, there was a bit of afters there from Mackey. I saw a swinging arm from number 6. There it was.
Well, there you can see it. Now, when Mackey had finished off the job, he turned to the referee and pointed to his shoulder. It was my shoulder I hit him with, sir.
That's a good ball to Irving. My word, what a collision between Irving and Eastwood. Ball comes free. Who has it? I think Ford does for Leeds. Referee Robin Whitfield will have to watch these high tackles. Here's Powell. Penalty. 2 Leeds.
Two men interfering there at the tackle, Eddie. That's why the referee has given the penalty. And as you mentioned, tempers will be running very high indeed. A lot of emotion. Semi-final.
Leeds' first penalty of the night. That's the distance that Simon Irving has. He has this strong wind at his back as a Hull player. It's Paul Eastwood over there on the far side, receiving treatment. An almighty collision, the ball's fallen over. Eastwood is picking himself up rather gingerly as Irving shapes to take this kick. There's Eastwood. He had the wind taken completely out of his sails by a huge collision. David Ward, the Leeds coach, what would he give for this one to sail between the posts? Simon Irving then with the chance to get the scoreboard clicking. But they've never had a chance. And what's more, Hull have the ball back. Jackson gives it to Sharp. Doesn't look much wrong with the Hull loose forward. On tap, going on his own. Leeds alert.
I must say the Leeds defence is very quick to move up.
On tap. Good ball to Gay. Almost through the gap. Schofield and Cavalier close the door on him. Jackson now. It's a good run from dummy half. Last tackle. Mackey, kick here. A high one to Tess Gallagher. That's hanging in the breeze. The fullback's coming for it. He got underneath number 3, Damien McGarry, and it's 6 more because the ball has come back on Hull's side. Marlowe. First real bit of pressure from Hull here.
Well, it was expected, Eddie, and I think you'll find that all through the night.
On tap. Harrison. Still going, Harrison. He's 11 metres short of the line. Jackson's the man at dummy half. That now is Sharp. Unloads the pass to Jackson. He's dropped it. Whoa, Leeds breathe a sigh of relief.
And so they should. That was a try gone begging. Wonderful play by Hull. I mentioned that their previous game here in January, Hull really did put the moves on. They switched the play and they found the gap easy. That should have been a 4-pointer.
Lee Jackson dropping the ball with the line at his mercy. Chip over the top, that's not bad tactics because Phil Ford was moving up on that left wing. Roy Powell needing attention from the Leeds physio. Ooh, that water will be cold tonight, Mike.
Certainly will, but I'm very impressed with the way that Leeds have come out here and put the different sort of attitude, putting their moves on. They really are adventurous in this opening minutes.
Leeds, they won the Premiership in its very first season, 1975. They repeated that 4 years later. Coach David Ward appeared in both those matches. Tonight he's hoping to complete his set and get the club to the Premiership final as the coach. 0-0 though, 10 minutes gone. And Hull again 11 metres short of the line. Onta to Mackie. Then out wide here, that's Marlowe. Good tackling Powell and Gibson. Dannett. Turner. Still going Turner. Using all that strength of his. That's how far short of the line he is. Leeds will have to defend desperately here. Ball's dropped to Marlowe. Still going Marlowe. Last tackle. Real examination of the Leeds defence this. Jackson comes blindside, and they're just out again. Good cover defence.
This really was good play by Hull. They switched it, and Turner just getting in there. But Fawcett was Johnny on the spot and used all his weight there to force the winger into touch. But a lovely switch of play there by Hull.
Leeds have possession from the scrum. Well, Hull could be 8 points to the good now. With that try that went begging before and that one in the corner, who knows what might have happened. David Ward, Leeds coach, watching sternly. Schofield kicks again to relieve the pressure. No one at home, and that ball is rolling and rolling towards the Hull try line rather. It was a good kick from Gary Schofield.
Certainly was, Eddie. They're taking advantage of this enormous wind in the first half. Leeds realise that they have to get points on the board while they have this wind to their advantage.
Difficult ground to win on this. Hull have an enviable record here at the Boulevard. Only Wakefield of the English teams who've played here this season have beaten them. We're beaten by the Kangaroos as well. And poor old Leeds, their last victory here was as long ago as 1986. Peter Fox was coach that day.
Good kick here by Mackie. Really did give himself plenty of time, moving to the blind side.
Big job on for Leeds then. That pack of forwards there. Hooker Richard Gunn will want to get this one out for Harkin. Does so. Now it's with Schofield. Now Gibson and Irving. I notice, by the way, that number 3 there, Damien McGarry and Brad Webb have switched shirts. So when you watch this match, it's McGarry in 3 and Webb in 4. There's Noel Cleal. Hull coach. Got a bird's eye view. That kick from Schofield, charged down. Hull have it back. That's good play. This is McGarry. He has support from Turner. The ball's gone free. Schofield swoops.
That was bad play by McGarry, the young Australian. Released the ball there.
Leeds have it back. That's Richard Gunn. Schofield now. Harkin. Cavill-Hugh, second row forward from Australia. Harkin knows every blade of grass on this ground, and I think he's judged that kick to absolute perfection.
What a marvellous kick. Look at this. The wind just carried it on and on and on, and that really will put Hull under pressure. Leeds will be looking for Hull to make a mistake.
Paul Harkin learned his trade really at Hull Kingston Rovers. Marlowe there going into the scrum. He's got a bit of blood flowing from a cut on his head. If he was on the field this time next year, he shouldn't be, because there will be a head bin, or a AIDS bin, or a blood bin, or what would you call it, Mike?
Claret bin.
You would.
That was a vintage line.
Hull 10 metres from their own line. Dannett. Strong tackle by Sean Wayne on him. Quarter of an hour of this semi-final gone. 0-0. Hull have downed a couple of tries though. Eastwood being tugged by the scruff of the neck. On tap. Oh, that little chip ahead was perfect for Irving.
Not the best flighted kick by the French scrum half. Right into the body of Irving. And Leeds really are wanting to get this ball out wide.
It was a good run from the deep by Gallagher. He called for the short pass from Schofield, took it at full tilt. Now Schofield again, that's over the top, and Onta read that perfectly. Well, this one's warming up, Mike.
Well, that's the reason why they have the sweeper. And Onta read that perfectly.
Jackson drops the ball, and Dixon has it for Leeds. Greg Mackey is all over Paul Dixon. This is Gunn, now Harkin, Sean Wayne.
The tension still showing, Eddie, in both sides. They're making a lot of mistakes.
Roy Powell clinging on for Leeds. This now is Wayne, now Harkin, and Schofield. Oh, great step from the Great Britain vice-captain. Leeds are inside the whole quarter again. Harkin. Now it's with Devorty. Chip through from Devorty, looking for the pace again of Ford out wide. They've done that a couple of times in the opening quarter of an hour here, Mike.
Well, they've obviously got their training routine very, very well done, down to a kick. And here we see Devorty taking the advantage of it. The only problem was that I'm afraid that Ford didn't realise that that kick was on. He should have been a lot closer to that.
Leeds fractionally ahead. The scrum count. 0-0 on the scoreboard where it matters.
And let's remember that Hull cannot use the long kick. It's a very strong wind against them.
I suppose from that point of view, as the ball comes out and Leeds have it back with Gibson, that Hull will be pleased at this stage that it is 0-0. They've had to weather enormous pressure, and remember they've put those two chances down. Handling errors 6 to Hull, none to Leeds as yet. Cavalier from dummy half. Head down and trying to run straight through the Hull defence. Little Patrick Onta clung on to him. Lee Jackson has his opposite number Gunn. Harkin the dummy half. Devorty misses out one and finds Gallagher. Good tackling by Mackey. It's the last one. Schofield with a drop goal. It's over. Leeds have the advantage. Just the 1 point. But it could be important come the end of the day.
Good thinking by the Leeds skipper. A vital point. No point in going down into the territory of the enemy and coming away with nothing. 1 point, as you said, Andy, could prove vital.
Remember, Gary Schofield dropped 2 drop goals at Castleford in the last round. His tally for the season in that department now is 4. Learned his trade here, of course, at the Boulevard before Leeds prized him away. David Ward knows that 1 point will not be enough. Leeds will need a few more. Certainly one of the informed teams, Leeds. They've lost just 1 of their last 8 matches. It was the match that proved that Wigan would be the champions. Wigan won at Headingley 20 points to 8 that day. Look at the way that ball held in the wing there for Harkin. Now it's Cavalier. Now it's Sean Wayne. He has been Leeds' most consistent forward all season. Roy Powell. Good tackle, Mackey. Schofield again. Look, he's looking over towards that left wing all the time. Ford, I don't think, fancied that chase. Richard Gay has it. Leeds have arrived in numbers. And Schofield's followed his own kick up to bring the fullback down.
Once again, we see the great tactics of Leeds. They've worked hard at their training this week, that's for sure. They want to use the kicking game, keep them down.
Midway through this first half then, Leeds just one up against Hull. We could be watching a match from the English soccer rather than the English rugby league with a scoreline like that. Harrison. Last tackle, and Hull are still 10 metres inside their own half. Onta's kick. On another day, he would have had more distance than that, but he realised in the wind he couldn't hit it high.
Well, that's good thinking. There you saw, low trajectory. Keep it as way away from the wind as you can. But even though they're 1 point down, they'll still be quite happy, but they'll be ruined the fact that they missed 2 golden opportunities early on.
Leeds possession from the scrum. Phil Ford scored a scorching try in January. Bargy between Ford and Mackey.
Well, here you see Mackey all over Ford. Surprised that the referee didn't give a penalty there. As you mentioned, Eddie, there's not a lot of love lost between these two sides.
Gone ankle tap by Mackey. Having a big game, the Hull number 6 already. Harkin. There's a kick with a bit of height in the wind. Perhaps just a little bit too much meat behind it. It goes dead in the in-goal area. It'll be a drop out, or rather a tap on the Hull 22.
We're disappointed with that, but that gives you some indication of the strength of the wind. Here we see just a finish of that kick. It'll be too long, but they still continue with these tactics, and Hull remain under pressure.
Harrison with a driving run down the middle. Support arrived from Jackson. He couldn't cling on. He hacks it forward. Ontas there. Referee says play on. This now is McGarry. Ford has him. But was that a knock on? Great crowd inside the boulevard. Roaring Hull on. Sharp gets the ball out to this near side. Turner drops it. That surely is a knock on. Although Richard Gay has it, it's going to be a scrum down.
Well, temper's flaring there, but Sharp sent the long ball out to Turner. There's Gibson complaining about the elbow, but Turner took his eye off the ball. It wasn't the best pass. And once again, Hull, the mistakes are letting them down. They can't afford to continue doing that.
3-4 in the scrum count to Leeds. It's now 5-3. Leeds have another one. And that's where the big difference is between the two sides in the handling errors. Remember, Hull, well, to me, they've dropped 2 certain tries, Mike.
No doubt about it, and their coach, Noel Cleal, will be far from impressed with that statistic. And once again, watch for the big kick.
Sean Wayne, forward pass, though, is the referee's verdict. Great shout from the crowd here.
Well, they got mixed up, Leeds there. Schofield was calling for the ball. He didn't get it, the forward got in the way, and that's the reason why he ran forward. Ball was passed, scrum down.
Ball comes out for Hull with Onta. Two of the smallest men in the game collide. That's Harkin 7 and Onta 7. This now is Neil Turner. Onta going into dummy half. This is Ian Marlowe. Leeds defence standing firm. Jackson pointing the way. Gives it to Mackey. Long pass to Mackey. Oh, that was dropped, and then Ford hacked it clear. Now then, Phil Ford can move, Richard Gay can move, and Richard Gay wins the race. Good defence by the Hull fullback.
Certainly would, and he had to be Johnny on the spot there because Phil Ford has got plenty of pace. But another mistake by Hull It was an awful pass out wide. The idea was there, but they're really not putting it together. They've got to respect this possession.
A man who will not be happy with what he's seeing, Noel Cleal. That was into no man's land by Harrison. He was lucky that Dannett read the situation, and he's given it to Jackson. Webb gives it to Sharp. Now Mackey. Mackey hacks ahead. Gallagher has it for Leeds. You can't take your eye off this one for a minute. Great tackle by McGarry. Dixon. Good run from Dixon this. Gibson's in support. Devorty is there too. Inside to Richard Gunn. Richard Gunn slipped out of the tackle. He's over under the posts. First try on the board for Leeds. Delight on the Leeds bench. And Richard Gunn's first try of the season.
Champagne football by Leeds, made by that man there, Paul Dixon. Gibson on hand, inside there to Devorty. And what a hooker should do all the time is support down the middle. He had enough pace, and what a time to get your debut try. Sheer, beautiful, beautiful football. A wonderful step by the Great Britain second row onto the Great Britain centre. Devorty, look at this man here, has the pace, and the hooker in support. Well played. That is a great try.
So Richard Gunn, who comes in to the side for the suspended Colin Maskill, his first of the season. He couldn't have timed the first one better. Right under the sticks. It's given Simon Irving this chance to increase the lead. He does so with ease. Goal number 99 of the season for him. Leeds have a 7-point advantage. They're playing with the wind at their backs. They might need that advantage come the end of the day.
Well, they certainly will. There's no doubt about that. This wind is so strong. But for the first time, the Hull defence in the middle was breached. And it took a wonderful step by the second rower, Dixon.
You can see the strength of the wind as the Union Jack is standing stiffly from the flagpole. And that is blowing at Leeds' backs. They will have to face the breeze in the second half, so they need all the points that they can possibly get here. You know, if it stays at 7-0, I fancy Hull will think that they've done a job well worth doing here in the first half. It might have been so different had they not put those 2 tries down. .27.5 minutes gone. 7-0 the Leeds advantage. Leeds in possession. Sean Wayne, the dummy half is Harkin. This now is Roy Powell. I suppose if Leeds get to the Premiership final, Mike, it's been a frustrating season for everyone concerned at Headingley. A lot of the sins will be forgiven.
Well, of course, but they'll have to win it. That there is no doubt, and I'm sure that their coach David Ward would have to agree with that comment. But to be fair to them, there's a replay of the kick. There's Ward. To be fair to that man, he was put under a lot of pressure by the Leeds fans and of course the media. They were hafted his head, and he's put his nose to the grindstone and got his team back into this position.
Hull in possession though. With McGarry. He's got Turner outside him, and he's got Simon Irving all round his legs, and that's a great tackle from Irving. Sharp.
We've seen a very good defensive stint by Leeds. Their commitment is equal to what was on show against Castleford in the quarter-final.
Now Onta. Ball's come free again. And it has it back for Hull, but the referee's whistle sounds it was a knock-on, and there's a bit of an altercation going on between Wayne and Dannett, who's on the floor. The referee, Robin Whitfield, has got a problem here. He has a smile on his face, see, but he'll have to sort this out.
Well, a little bit of frustration there. I think Dannett caught one on the head. Here we see on the replay. I think it was just that he was confused that the ball was being ripped away from him. Of course, they won't be able to do that next season. You're not allowed to even attempt to take the ball away from the man who's carrying it. And the referee, Whitfield, having quite a lot to say.
Now, he might well be in the sin bin this time next season, but he really has got well, he's got his rag out, Sean Wayne, there's no doubt about that, and what's more, he's been penalised because I think he was the one who threw the first punch while Devorty was on the floor. And all the Leeds players are just telling Sean Wayne just to calm down, and so's that man. Just calm it down. That's the message that's gone from the bench to Sean Wayne, who's in the thick of the tackling again there. That's done it. Half an hour gone. 7-0 for Leeds. Harrison looking for support. Marlowe is there. And Schofield has him. With a bit of help from his friend Gibson.
Here's a touch judge on. Something in back play. The crowd are going wild.
Onta is the man who's on the floor, receiving attention. Touch judge, both of them on now. Will we see here? Will this give us any indication?
Well, there you see, Onta was trying to back up the man, and it was a back elbow into Onta.
And Sean Wayne has got 10 minutes in the sin bin for that. He was walking a very, very thin tightrope.
And he deserves it.
Bang, you just saw it there. It just went out of your picture on the right-hand side. An elbow in the face on the little Frenchman. Sean Wayne, his temper was boiling over, and David Ward is having a right go at him, and quite rightly so.
Well, we just saw just a minute ago that the coach was saying calm things down, and that's not the thing to do, to see a man go off for 10 minutes in the sin bin, and Ward will be livid.
Particularly if Paul Eastwood slots this penalty over. Remember, Leeds had a man, Gary Schofield, in the sin bin in the first half at Castleford. Well, he hung on then and won. What does tonight have in store for us? Paul Eastwood then, with this penalty. 115 so far for the season. And he's pushed it wide. And that's a bad miss. Player of his quality, goal kicker of his standards. Hull really should have 2 points on the board.
Well, Noel Clear will be thinking that he should have had at least 8 or 10 points on that scoreboard. At the moment, it's still zilch. There's nothing for their efforts, and they can only blame themselves, really.
Onta from dummy half. This now is Russ Walker. Leeds all the time trying to, there's Noel Clear watching. He's not the happiest of men at the moment, I'm sure. Leeds, every time they go into the tackle, they're trying to strip the ball, but maybe they won't have a chance here, because this is Webb, and Webb's cut inside Gallagher, and luckily for Leeds, the cover was there from Schofield. Hull have touched the ball down with Eastwood, but it's no try.
Well, here we see Webb. He'd done the right thing. That was just an impossible position to try to get the ball away. You can sense when a man is on top of you. And once again, these silly mistakes. Look, they're making the breaks. The forwards are doing their work. The interchanging, and that one long ball out wide. So Webb make the break, and then they just ruin their chances.
It's one against the head for Hull, and maybe they will make Leeds pay for that. Mackey has it. The crowd really are getting behind Hull here now. Harrison, 8 metres short. Leeds down to 12 men. Jackson! Leeds just hold him up. Sharp is in there at dummy half. Back now to Carl Harrison. Leeds swarming round the man with the ball. Last tackle. Ball goes on the blind side to Sharp. Sharp's got nowhere to go, and Leeds have done the job well. And of course that now means that 6 tackles having been gone, possession automatically turns over to Leeds, and so Leeds can try and work that ball away from their own try line.
Well, for the last 2 tackles, Hull were absolutely hopeless. They lost full control of it then. They were shouting for the kick, it never came. Then they took it to the blind side when it was obvious that the open side, Leeds were caught with their defence tight, and yet they took it to the blind.
Schofield's kick again, finds touch.
Lovely kick here by Schofield. That's the sort of kick that lifts your spirits, and the mistakes that Hull have been making certainly erases any spirit in the side.
Referee wants the scrum to reform. Scrum going down as a result of Schofield's kick. Sharp has it, now it's with Onta. Gary Schofield, the man doing the tackling there on Onta. That was a French farce. Referee not conned. Walker has it. Again, Schofield leading by example. He's the runaway player of the year this year for Leeds. This time, Walker has the penalty.
Well, no doubt about it. Schofield again, trying to get the ball. There you see, interfering with him. Now, he got away with it the first time, did Gary. He tried it for the second time. That's a professional foul, and I hate to say it, Gary, you should have been having a rest.
Hull have had 5 penalties, Leeds just the 1. Can Hull turn this one into their advantage? Harrison. Not with tackling like that. Leeds really are tackling like demons. Jackson, blindside again, well picked up by Richard Gay, wheeling out of trouble. Greg Mackey's calling the move on this near side. Jackson kicks ahead, and Gallagher content to simply pat the ball down.
Well, here we see Jackson taking the option on his own. Mackey was screaming to the rest of his side that there was going to be a move put on. That may have been it, who knows? But it didn't come off.
John Gallagher, £350,000 worth of ex-All Black talent, the 26-year-old. They called him Kipper in his rugby union days. Do they get Kippers in New Zealand?
For £350,000 worth, they can buy tons of them.
By the Isle of Man.
Or Grimsby.
3 minutes of this first half left. Leeds ahead 7-0. This is Ian Marlowe.
Hull are doing the right thing, Eddie. They're making these gaps. The interchange in the switch of play is producing the yardage that they're wanting, but it's the silly passes at the end.
Onta, Mackey, Jackson, Hugh is round him, Gibson's round him, and that's good play from Leeds. They're pushing the man back in possession. They've taken him outside the quarter line. Offside against Leeds. And Mackey trying to take a quick tap, but now calls on Eastwood, and Eastwood is asked again to knock the ball over. Sean Wayne sitting alongside his coach David Ward can only watch as time ticks away in this first half.
Well, David Ward will be quite happy about this. Whilst Eastwood preparing to take the kick, the seconds are ticking away. And Hull have not been able to take advantage of Leeds being down to 12 men.
So Eastwood then, with this penalty attempt, the second of the night, talking to himself, trying to get his mind in the right frame to simply knock that ball over the crossbar. He's done it this time. Goal number 116 of the season. Hull have got the scoreboard clicking. They're now within 5 points of Leeds, and we're approaching half-time. Just 1 minute of the first 40 to go. And you know, I think Paul Eastwood's still feeling the effect of that collision early on in this half, when he needed attention.
That could well be, but Noel Cleal will be most disappointed. He realises that he has a strong wind to play with in the second half, but he also realises that he could have been in front on the scoreboard.
Well, that's surely a knock-on. Oh, referee says that went back. The first one certainly did. I think Brad Webb can count himself a lucky boy that he got away with that one. What would Leeds give for a try right at the end of this first half to give them breathing space when they face the wind and the onslaught that is bound to be on the way from Hull? Ball's come free. The referee's decision, penalty Hull, stripping the ball away in the tackle.
Well, there's never any doubt about it. Now, Dixon and Powell were laying all over, and there's a little bit of a mix-up. Dixon has moved in, had plenty to say. Referee Whitfield has moved in also, told him to go back the 10 metres. Thankfully, he's doing that. I don't know why he's shaking his head. He was hanging all over the player. The rules state that when you have tackled a man, you have to roll away quickly as possible, not hang around like a bad smell.
14 minutes up in this first half. We're adding anything on now for stoppages. There's none of that. That's the half-time siren, and Carl Harrison pointing an accusing finger. The referee having to move in. Simon Irving departing, and the referee, realising that stakes are high here, is moving in between the Hull players and telling them to calm down. So it's 7 points to 2 in Leeds' favour. Scoreline doesn't tell you is that Leeds have to face a gale in the second half, and Hull will be testing Leeds all the way, particularly that man Greg Mackey. Now the referee, before the interval, had to step in between warring players. Watch the number 11 for Leeds here, Cavill Hugh, and look, well, he's giving him a facial massage. It was right on the half-time siren, and no wonder Carl Harrison is furious. I thought he was pointing at Irving. In actual fact, he's pointing at Cavill Hugh. Then he's saying he's pulling my eyes out. And Dixon and Lee Jackson having a go at each other as well in the foreground. And Cavill Hugh, fortunate really, Mike, that the ref didn't spot that one.
Very fortunate indeed. And I'm sure that Harrison, like an elephant, will remember in all the 40 minutes in the second half.
Robin Whitfield, cool, calm and collected. His young boy watching home in Widnes. And we're live and exclusive for the second 40 minutes here at the Boulevard. And who's for Old Trafford? Will it be Leeds or will it be Hull? I get the feeling, as referee Whitfield pins Brad Webb for offside at the play the ball, I get the feeling, Mike, we're in for a very interesting last 40.
It may be cold up here and in the stands. There's the replay of the offside. Webb obviously move it up very quickly. They're very keen and tense. As I mentioned, it may be cold out on the stands there, on the terraces, but it will certainly be red hot out on the paddock.
Richard Gunn restarts. Roy Powell has it. What will the two coaches have said, do you think? I mean, obviously Ward is going to be saying that his players are going to have to watch the bombs, and I suppose that Noel Cleal is saying that his boys ought to be using the wind to the full advantage. Well, one man who can tell us exactly what has been said in the dressing rooms is Peter Hutton. He's been earwigging. Peter?
Well, much of the talk's been about the injuries going on in the dressing room. One other bit of news, Sean Wayne back on the pitch now. But the three injuries that are really causing worries, the two for Hull. Ian Marlowe's had a bad cut just above his nose. They've stopped it bleeding, but they can't put a stitch in it. But it looks like there's been a stitch put in the Russ Walker's forehead, just above his eye. He, another player who got a cut. And the third player of Leeds, that's Vince Fawcett. He's had a patch over his eye. So three of them been bleeding. That's three that would have been in the blood bin next season.
Indeed so. It's a tough old game. What a game for namby-pambies, this.
And I just hope that all those cuts didn't come about by stray fingers going in towards the eyes. That is not what we want in rugby league.
The two swinging arms. Sean Wayne has put up and told you is back on. He's just missed out there by Harkin, who's found Powell. 7 points to 2, remember. Leeds have the advantage. This now is Barry Devorty. Strong run from the former Hull player, now earning his corn at Headingley. Schofield, another Hull player that was. Last tackle. Schofield now, of course, very much a part of the Leeds scene. This is Harkin, former Hull Kingston Rover. He knows every blade of grass here at the boulevard, the little number 7 for Leeds. I think he picked out the molehill there, and it bounced very kindly for him over the top of the whole player and out of touch. Scrum down then. Hull have the head and feed.
Leeds will be quite content to play very tight, no frills football. They realise that it's Hull that has to chase them.
Richard Gay. Tackling that by Irving. This now is John Sharp running straight and hard. Tackling by Devorty and Schofield. McGarry finds Marlowe. Blood streaming from that cut on his head. Interesting, that decision by the international board this week. Players who are bleeding on the field of play will have to leave next season for attention. So there are about 3 there who wouldn't be on the field this time next year, as Leeds force Neil Turner out of the field of play. This is good tackling, Mike.
It certainly is. Not only that, is that they kept the man off the ground, and whilst he's still moving, the referee cannot call a held.
Harkins head and feed. He has the possession too. This is Fawcett. Irving going in at dummy half. Both sides back to strength now. Wayne is back on the field, and he was waiting for it, but they've gone the other way. This now is Dixon. Dixon, we'll probably be seeing him on our Australian coverage as the summer unfolds. He's going to Gold Coast when Leeds' involvement in this competition finishes. Gallagher, that's a good ball, and that's not a bad run, and it's a good job for Hull that Webb had hold of his ankles. Schofield, the attempted drop goal. Well, in the first half that would have been a cross and over, but it held in the wind, and Richard Gay had to be brave as Cavill-Hugh closed in.
Wonderful take here by Gay.
One of the most underrated fullbacks in the game in my book, Richard Gay.
That really was a wonderful example of a man keeping his eyes on the ball.
Leeds doing their job well in the opening 5 minutes here, keeping Hull penned down in their own quarter. Dannett with a driving run. Last tackle. Jackson. His kick ahead. Gallagher watching it and allowing it to run out of play.
Well, Jackson once again took the option for himself, individual play, and I can't really believe that he'd take that option with such a strong wind behind them. I'm sure that man Mackey was screaming for the ball. He'd want it further downfield than that.
Greg Mackey having treatment for an injury. I think Peter Hutton has the details of that injury.
Yeah, he got a knock on the right knee just a few moments ago. He's been hobbling behind play, and he'd just gone out onto the left wing to just stay out of the way for a while. They'll Hull think he'd be okay to carry on.
Such an important member of the side, Greg Mackey. They say up here that if Mackey plays well, Hull play well. Devorty.
And full credit to Leeds, they've kept him quiet.
Richard Gunn, the try scorer. Paul Harkin, Gary Schofield, Cavill-Hugh. Tackling by Walker, but I was going to say he manages to unload. He certainly did unload the pass, but straight into the arms of Brad Webb. Hull have it back with Onta. Now Marlowe. Bloodied but unbowed, Ian Marlowe. Jackson's going into dummy half. Giving it to Harrison. Good job the half-time came, I think. There were 1 or 2 tempers on the boil. Sharp. Mackey's doing all the organising behind the play here. This is Dannett. Last tackle. There's Mackey. A high bomb. Gallagher's coming for it like a train. But Hull have it with McGarry. But the referee says that that tackle was completed standing up. And so it's the turnover again. Leeds get the possession back.
Well, we fully expected that. We knew that Gallagher was going to be put under a lot of pressure in the second half. Damien McGarry, there's the man that didn't get to it. McGarry did. I'm afraid Hull will have to start kicking earlier than the last tackle.
It's a bruising, tense affair out there. This is Sean Wayne. Good tackling by Lee Jackson, the Great Britain international. Now Harkin and Schofield and Gallagher again. Good ball to Phil Ford. Cuts inside Brad Webb. Taken out by Patrick Onta, the Frenchman. Schofield at dummy half. Devorty to Harkin. To Irving, it goes through his arms. Referee says it went backwards. Leeds have benefit of that. This now is Fawcett. Straightening up Fawcett. Good run. Last tackle. Harkin, under pressure from Jackson, gets his kick in. Bounces off the legs of Gay. It's a good run from the fullback, all across the face of play. Eastwood, though, is pinned by number 11, Hugh. Brad Webb from dummy half. Little gaps opened up for him. Gunn regained his ground. Ball comes free. Penalty against Gunn for stealing the ball in the tackle when the tackle had been made. Not allowed.
Well, let's see this. Gunn's got his hands in there. Well, 50-50. He seemed to be appealing to the referee before the ball had left the chest.
Hull have used the advantage of the wind to get themselves into the Leeds half. This is Dannett. Puff of wind coming out of Dixon as Dannett's head crashed into his chest. Mackey, fully recovered now. Sharp, that's a good run. Good ball too. McGarry is stopped. Hull on a bit of a roll here. Marlowe. Jackson bringing it this way. On tap. Oh, and Onta's being singled out for some treatment here, and quite rightly so. The referee has awarded a penalty for the swinging arm of Cavill Hugh.
Well, I can't believe this, that the referee saw this and is doing nothing about it. I mean, that was a malicious swing. What do they have to do? Take his teeth out first? All right, they've got the penalty.
The penalty figures do make interesting reading as we look at Cavill Hugh has been pinned by the referee for that swinging arm. Hull 9 and Leeds 2. And Cavill Hugh, big Queenslander, also involved in the incident with Harrison that almost got the tempers boiling up as the players went in at half-time.
I really can't believe that. It was all blatant for all to see, and he's a lucky man.
So Eastwood with this penalty, and it'll drag Hull back to within 3 points if he lands it. He has the wind at his back. He's a left-footed kicker. It's on the right side of the pitch for him. So this should be another 2 for Hull. Let's see. Well, that's not the best kick I've seen all season. And Paul Eastwood hangs his head, and quite rightly so.
And so he should. That's the second easy kick. And the substitution.
Yes, it's about to be made. Peter Hutton will have details of it. Peter?
Yeah, the man coming on is Dean Busby, number 15. He's set to replace number 11, which is Ian Marlowe. Ian Marlowe, the man who got one of those facial wounds from the first half. Discussing the way things are going so far with me, Rob Nolan of Hull. Rob, not too bad for you, 7-2 down, but with the wind in your favour.
Yeah, I think if we can use the wind in this second half, keep the ball in there 25, then I think we'll come up steady winners in the end.
Obviously, the tactics being from Leeds, the kicks down using that wind, presumably Hull will be going the same way.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's all important, the wind. They used it brilliantly in the first half. With Arkin pinning us down in hour 25. We're looking for the likes of Mackey and Eastwood in hour 25 to be kicking it down there. Good kick chase and keeping them in there 25.
You're still out injured, but brother Gary could have a chance of coming on soon.
Yeah, I think we'll bring him on before long. I think there's a few of our backs that, they're carrying a few injuries, and I think Noel will give him a chance in about another 5, maybe 10 minutes. I hope he does well. We need for him to do a little bit of magic, score a try, something like that. It's what we need, something off one of the backs.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Okay.
As Rob Nolan was talking there, you saw that Vince Fawcett had to basketball style pack the ball behind the dead ball line. This little kick from Mackey causing confusion for Leeds.
Yes, the winger was Johnny on the spot, get him there. And there, when you saw the close-up of him, this man here, he has to really click into top gear. He knows that the gaps are appearing, but he also knows that they have to respect this possession. No mistakes this half.
John Sharp. Tackle from Irving. Completed by Cavill-Hugh. Richard Gay. Now Busby. Such an impressive debut in front of our cameras when we were up here for the Featherstone match earlier on this season. He's only 17, the number 15. Great prospect. Here's a Great Britain international, Harrison, to another one, Jackson. And the ball has come free. Dixon has it back for Leeds. Hull are not respecting that football. They're not respecting the possession.
Certainly aren't, Teddy, and it really is going to be a problem for the coach, Noel Cleal. He's brought on the young kid Busby to try to inject a little bit more spark into the attack. But it's no good having that spark when it's dimmed by this silly handling mistakes.
Here are the handling error figures for you. Hull have made 11 and Leeds 3. It'll be horrific reading tonight for the Hull coach Noel Cleal. That's the last tackle. Hull, the side that finished third. Leeds finished fifth. Harkins with the kick. Bounced off a Hull boot. And Hull have it back with Onta. Now with Busby. Trying to get away from Cavill-Hugh. He and Dixon bring him down. Jackson is hobbling, the Great Britain international. Peter Hutton's got details.
Yeah, he got a bad knock to the right ankle just a couple of moments ago. He's gone out to the right wing now to try and stay out of the way and just get himself nursed back into the game.
As Harrison drives down the middle. Good tackling stint this from Leeds. Totally different performance than the one we saw from them 2 weeks ago against Castleford. They've had to be disciplined tonight. Discipline is hardly the word you'd use, I suppose, when you're talking about Cavill-Hugh, but they have had to be disciplined in defence.
Certainly have, but here we see the replay of Turner being pulled across there by Gibson. This is good tackling by Gibson, and once again, that has to be classified as a mistake.
Big crowd inside the Boulevard tonight. It really is a great scene when it's full, this ground. Great atmosphere. I must say that the crowd in the black and white favours are just a little quiet at this stage. 55 minutes gone, and that's the reason why Leeds are ahead 7 points to 2. A try though, and it could all turn round. The referee says that's a knock on by Harkin, the base of the scrum. So the scrum will reform, and this time it will be Hull's head and feet.
Bad mistake by Harkin there under pressure. Could this be the opportunity?
Scrum collapses, Onta has it. 12 test caps for France. The little number 7 for Hull. This is Mackey and Gay, and now McGarry. Now Walker. Jackson is the dummy half. John Sharp. Hull are within 12 metres of that Leeds line. Jackson bringing the ball this way to Harrison. Harrison striding forward, trying to run through Gallagher. This time Gallagher managed to cling on with a bit of help from Cavill-Hugh and Richard Gunn. That's how close they are. Mackey kicks ahead on. Schofield read it perfectly. Picked it off his toe.
What wonderful pressure here, Mackey, and the man Schofield. He's an amazing pair of hands. They call him the poacher, and he virtually, as you said, Eddie, took it off there, and that really has taken the pressure. What a time to come into it. And Leeds really must be thinking to themselves, what can we do to get back down into the whole quarter?
Dixon. Well, this fellow can run it if he gets the opportunity. Paul Dixon, the number 12, lost a 1986 Premiership final when with Halifax against Warrington. Larry Schofield would love, with kicks like this, he might well engineer an appearance at Old Trafford next week. He'd love to be there.
Well, he's taking the right option, but give you some indication, Schofield realising that with this strong wind, he knows that that sort of kick is still going to leave Hull with a heading ball. They get possession back in the Leeds half again.
Mackey is dummy half. Jinking, turning, twisting. No way through though. Dennett. Up to 8-6. That looked like another swinging arm. Dixon with a smile at the referee. He gave him the benefit of the doubt. That was a good sharp ball to Walker. Now then, Hull on the Leeds quarter again. Sharp once more. Powell all over him. So too is Dixon and Gibson.
Full credit to Leeds. This defence is very good. They're soaking up the pressure.
Onta. Can they soak it up even more? Schofield has it. Read it again brilliantly. Great pass out to Phil Ford. And Phil Ford can motor. And he's cut inside Walker. He's cut inside Busby and Eastwood. And on tack keeps it going to Irving. And that's good cover tackling though by Dean Busby. Devorting. Now Hugh, he's dropped it. Referee's whistle sounds. Kevin Hugh furious.
Well, that was a shame because this was the culmination of a wonderful run. And it was all created by their skipper, Gary Schofield. We mentioned it, he had wonderful pair of hands. Well, he took it on the half volley. Not satisfied by taking such a bad path, he threw a wonderful ball out for Ford that brought them back into the Hull half.
Richard Gay, this match tonight being watched by 9,964 people. Close on 10,000 in the Boulevard tonight for this semi-final. You're watching it live and exclusive on Sky Sports. Hope you're enjoying the entertainment at home. Jackson. Leeds ahead 7 points to 2. Old Trafford beckoning next week. Big end of season doubleheader finals day. Busby in possession for Hull.
Interesting to see that they've moved Busby to run out wide.
Mackey. Nice ball. There's Jackson. Good tackling from Leeds though. It's a stout defensive display from the men from Headingley. Mackey again. Can they hold it out though? Sharp. Long pass out to Turner. McGarry is there in support. Ball over the top. Gallagher has it. And they have Gallagher. Tackled in his own in-goal area. It's a drop out underneath his own posts.
Good kick by the young Australian. But Gallagher was equal to the task. Good positioning. He has been criticised in the past, but he was there when it mattered most.
Exactly an hour gone. Leeds have a 5-point advantage. They're playing into the teeth of a gale, and Schofield's drop out from underneath the posts doesn't reach halfway. Walker has it for Hull. He'll run strongly. Good tackle from Simon Irving. Brad Webb, Dean Busby. Impressive, this boy of 17. Onta, French Test captain, out of the back door, continued by Busby. Gets it to Eastwood. Hull are trying all they know. Leeds' defence really is being examined here. Mackey just couldn't get through. Dixon closed the door and got a knock for his pains. Paul Dixon flat out. Dannett in possession. Hull 10 metres short. Jackson the dummy half. How long can this pressure be put on Leeds without them cracking? Last tackle. Is this the moment for Hull?
Well, that was interesting. Powell did take the ball away then. Whitfield said, give it back.
Ball is kept alive to Dannett. Dannett turns it back to Harrison. Harrison keeps it going to Walker. Walker out to the back. And out to the back only to a blue and yellow jersey that belongs to Cavill Hugh.
Well, Leeds soak up the pressure again, and Hull caught offside. Mackey running up far too quickly. And Hull now have to rearrange themselves. The gaps that they were finding by using the forward play, turning the ball back inside, they have to change it now. The little kick, maybe the long link, the long ball out wide, because it's not working against this Leeds side who are working tirelessly in defence.
Yes, it really has been a big effort from them. 24-20, remember, against Castleford. It was a classic 2 weeks ago. It's a good game of a different sort. A real battle of attrition out there. Two strong defences. Leeds defence standing firm. Now they have the chance to examine the Hull defence with Harkin. Hull haven't got a great record in knockout football this season. Out in the first round against Castleford in the Yorkshire Cup. First round against Widnes in the Regal Trophy. Preliminary round against Sheffield Eagles in the Challenge Cup. Not been a season for cup competition here at the Boulevard. Are Leeds to end their involvement in this year's Premiership? Schofield looked to me then as though he may be thinking about another drop goal. Instead, he keeps the move going with Harkin. And Harkin has Jackson all round him. That's the last one. Ball's laid back to Devorty. Devorty, I think, had a drop goal attempt there. And the ball runs dead.
Well, it was far too hurried there, Devorty. He didn't give himself enough room. But to be fair to him, it is a very strong wind that he's kicking into.
Noel Cleal watching carefully from his bird's nest in the stand opposite. Not a happy man at the moment. His team 5 points adrift of the opposition. Old Trafford becoming a distant memory.
I'm sure that Cleal would have sent the message down now, Eddie, that they have to change those tactics. As much as Mackie and Entar have worked very tirelessly and hard, they really have got to come up with something different. Preferably the link out wide.
Gallagher has the ball for Leeds. I just wonder what hits him every time he gets the ball, John Gallagher. He has had a testing first season in the paid game. Noel Cleal watching from there. I wonder if he was wishing that he could come on and turn the match himself. Remember, he scored 2 tries as a substitute at Leeds in September, when Hull really were running hot. Has to be content, though, with passing information out to the field of play tonight. He's now the full-time coach here. Harkin to Gallagher. That's a good ball. Gallagher almost released the ball. Decided in the end to cling on as Onta brought him down. It's the last tackle. Harkin kicks ahead. It's a punishing kick. That's a great kick from Harkin.
Wonderful tactics here by the Leeds halfback. Pushed it wide of Gay. And that's the type of kick that Leeds will be very happy with. They're content with this lead.
65 minutes gone, 7-2. Hull might have a double in the first division over Leeds to their credit, but Leeds scrapping like tigers to get to Old Trafford. Dean Busby has possession from the scrum. He's 10 metres from his own line. David Ward looking on anxiously. Penalty against Roy Powell. That tackle on Gay.
Well, Powell there pulling him down. Once again, not allowing the player to get up and play the ball. And they're the silly penalties. We saw that a fortnight ago, should I say, when Leeds played Castleford. That really was a humdinger right down to the wire. And this is going to go the same.
5 points the difference. Hull 10 metres inside the Leeds half. Now on halfway with Mackie. This now is Walker. What a defensive stint this is. It's a totally different game from Leeds this week than we saw 2 weeks ago. Mackie, has he got the key? McGarry. Ball's gone free. Ford will have it for Leeds.
And once again, there you saw McGarry trying to get the ball away. Now, they're the difference between the two sides. McGarry, it wasn't on. It's as simple as that. If you're not 75 to 80% sure, there he tries to get it. It's not on, son. Don't take the gamble. And that's the difference between the two sides. Leeds have respected that possession. And haven't they changed over the last month, Leeds?
They certainly have. But having said that, Mike, you've jinxed them.
Wouldn't be the first time. We saw the replay. And there he gets one for his Well, there's no doubt about it. Don't they realise that touch judges, now the hooker, Richard Gunn, he threw in a neat little left. They must think that those guys with little flags on the side have got nothing to do.
I think he's saying that Onta bit him. Well, we've seen it all tonight. Let's have a look here. Do we see the molars going in?
Well, we'll soon find out. Well,
No
who
comment.
knows? I didn't see any pearly whites, I'll put it that way.
We leave it up to the people at home. Now Eastwood is almost identical to the one he missed, perhaps even more in front of the sticks. But this one, it's his fourth attempt, and he's kicked one. He's now kicked two. And so Hull are coming closer and closer. That's Eastwood's 117th goal of the season. More importantly, that's the scoreline. Hull 4, Leeds 7. They're just a try away from Old Trafford and coming up to half an hour on the watch. So they've got 10 minutes, these two sides. It was bound to be close. And Mike, it couldn't be much closer.
No, and you can fully expect that Leeds will try to get down into the quarter and go for that one-pointer again. That will give them that little bit of breathing space.
Onta in possession for Hull. This now is Eastwood. Onta again, Harrison. Still going Harrison. 4 men it took to bring him down. Jackson's the dummy half. Going on his own, Jackson. Good run from him. And Paul Harkin had hold of him by the shirt tails before Sean Wayne closed in for the kill as well. This now is Sharp. Now it's Dannett. Trying to drive his way through Roy Powell. Powell is a considerable frame. It's the last tackle. Sharp again. Ball out to Eastwood. And Eastwood releases the ball in the tackle. Leeds have it. It was on the last tackle anyway. 10 minutes to go. That's the way it looks.
It wasn't the last tackle, Eddie, but really, Hull should have done more with it. They should be putting this ball up into the air. Everybody knows in rugby league that John Gallagher has not been the best man to protect the bombs this season, and yet for some unknown reason they've only put it under pressure once.
Jackson did well there though, and there's John Gallagher. Jackson did really well then as he raked the ball back at the play of the ball. It's perfectly legal, perfectly allowed. Busby gives it now to McGarry. McGarry, a man who scored on his debut against Leeds in January. How he'd love to score again tonight. Mackey and Harrison. Driving run from the big prop forward. Mackey waving players up in support, directing operations behind that play of the ball. This now is Dannett. Hull are 11 metres short of the Leeds line. Jackson nods, he knows the instructions, he's given it to Onta, he's helped it on to Mackey. Mackey has Busby in support, that's good tackling from Leeds. Sharp has arrived, this now is Onta. The gap has suddenly opened up, this is Turner, Turner's going around the outside, releases the pass, McGarry. And good defence again from Leeds, 5 tackles gone. Turner limping away from the action, Jackson brings it towards us. It's now with Richard Gay. And again, Leeds snap the door shut. It's the turnover 10 metres from the Leeds try line.
Well, I know they're making the half break, but there's a lot of individual play coming into the Hull side now. They're all wanting to score tries. They've thrown away the game plan. And I still cannot understand why they're not using this kick on the 5th or last tackle.
Sean Wayne. 10 minutes in the sin bin for him tonight. Now Richard Gunn, whose try at the moment separates these two sides. Leeds in possession just outside their quarter line. Peter Hutton downstairs again.
Just a thought from down here. It's about the whole left wing defence, if you like. The left winger Neil Turner, left centre Damien McGarry. Both of them have got leg injuries at the moment.
Ball's charged down by Mackey, and he just couldn't get to it before the ball hit the deck and went out of play. It was nearly the moment that turned the game for Hull. Peter, back to you.
It's just a point about those two players together. I wonder if Hull would have scored in the corner just moments ago. If either had been fully fit, neither could go to full pace, and that's why they couldn't get round the back of the Leeds defence.
Interesting point. Talking of points, there are 3 separating these two sides. Leeds have 7 of them, Hull have 4. We're deep into the last 10 minutes now. 33 minutes gone.
Leeds will be pulling on all the reserves now. It's been a great effort from them, especially in defence in the second half. They've taken their chances. They put 1 try on the board. Hull have had many more chances, but they're yet to get over.
Devorty keeps the ball alive. Schofield will simply kick for territory, make Gay retreat, and hope that it bounces kindly and goes out, but it doesn't this time. Gay has it. That's a good run from the full-back from a standing start. He's given it to Mackey. This game's still to be won, and Powell did well to bring Mackey down. One last big effort now from Hull, and they could be at Old Trafford. Busby's dropped it. He's given it to Ford. Phil Ford, I think, got a kick then for his pains. Busby had to go for it. It was 50-50, and Phil Ford got a nasty crack on the elbow.
Well, here we see Ford going down. He took the odds there. That was very brave of the wingman. But Hull once again making this mistake. Remember, Busby was instructed to run out wide. That's been the new game plan. Unfortunately for the youngster, he put the chance down.
Leeds in possession. Hull, though, about to shuffle about a bit more. Peter's got the details.
They've learned a lesson of that incident a few moments ago. Neil Turner is coming off now. Gary Nolan, number 14, is all set to come on. One other point about Hull, remember John Sharp. They only expected an hour out of him, but he stayed on for the full game.
Leeds pull back for a forward pass. Harry Schofield nods. I think he agrees. It was a ball from Hugh. Yes, it popped up. It looked about a yard forward. Rob Nolan's on. Gary Nolan's on. He looks like his brother. I spoke to him. He's in, or has been in plaster on the bench. Gary now comes on. Maybe at Oldham in front of our cameras. Project of the Hull Dockers Club. Gary Nolan. 5 to go. Hull 4, Leeds 7. John Sharp with a driving run. He's left Gallagher for dead. He's given it to Gay. Gay gives it to Onta. Great tackling from Phil Ford. He was limping not long ago, Ford. He's recovered now. Hull haven't finished though. Busby, Dean Busby, Ford again. It's a rousing finale, and Ford appealing that it was a knock-on, and the referee agrees. Big smile on his face, Robin Whitfield. He looked the most relaxed man at half-time. He's enjoying himself.
He certainly is, but more so than this young fella here, losing the ball at a vital time again. And here you see Ford screaming at the touch judge.
Referee unhappy the way the scrum formed, wants it set again. 4 minutes to go. Hull 4, Leeds 7. Where's your money now, Mike Stevenson? Be brave.
I'm still going to go for an upset. Hull will come back.
David Ward's off the bench. Tension getting to him down there.
To be fair though, Eddie, you could not take anything away from this Leeds effort. The defence has been superb. They've taken that one chance.
Dispute for possession between Onta and Devorty. Devorty wins the nod from the referee. Harkin gives it to Powell. Remember, Leeds won their place in this semi-final in the last minute. In the match at Castleford 2 weeks ago. Are Hull to claim their place at Old Trafford in the last couple of minutes here tonight? 3 minutes left for play, and Paul Dixon has the possession for Leeds. That's the last tackle. Schofield's in a dummy half. The ball's laid back for Gallagher to kick downfield. Brad Webb collects on the first bounce for Hull. Big 6 tackles coming up here for Hull. Brad Webb's lost his boot. Dean Busby has the ball. Leeds trying to bring their substitute David Heron on to settle the ship in the last couple of minutes here. Well, it must be tense down there on the benches. This is a heck of a defensive display from Leeds tonight. Remember, Hull put 2 chances down in the first half. It might have been so different. That's the last tackle, and Hull have only made it to the Leeds quarter. It's back with Mackey. Mackey tries the high kick to Tess Gallagher. Gallagher's lost it. Oh, is that a try for Hull? It is! Oh, what a tragedy for John Gallagher. And Nolan, Gary Nolan, he's come off the substitutes bench, and I think he scored the try that will take Hull to Old Trafford. Carl Harrison punches the air with delight, so too does the try scorer. And Gary Nolan, his first try of the season. What a horror show for Gallagher, though.
Well, I said it all along. I was surprised Hull hadn't used it. The second time in this half they do. The horror show continues for the Kiwi, and Nolan sends this Boulevard crowd wild. Wonderful kick. They were onside, no doubt about it. Gallagher went up too early, as he's done quite often this season, and he's paid the price.
On my watch, we're in the last minute, and Gary Nolan has come off the bench and has perhaps taken Hull all the way to Old Trafford as Noel Cleal leaves his bird's nest to come down to the touchline and, who knows, join in the celebrations. Well, he's watching from behind the fence, passing the word out now, not by the walkie-talkie, but Eastwood now has this kick, and if he kicks this, Hull can book their coach for Old Trafford. It's over this time, and Leeds secured their place in the semi-finals in the last minute 2 weeks ago. They've lost this semi-final in the last minute here tonight. 10-7 Hull lead. We're in time added on for stoppages, and John Gallagher will want to forget that moment for a long, long time to come. David Heron is on. Leeds will restart. And the referee rightly has said that David Heron was offside at the kickoff.
They had to go for it. They realised there were only seconds remaining. They thought the referee couldn't see it, but just out of his right-hand corner, he thought, no man can sprint that fast. Not even Martin O'Fire could have got there in time. Full credit for Leeds for trying.
Penalty then, right on the halfway mark. Eastwood deposits the ball into touch. Hull 10, Leeds 7. Dannett has it for Hull, and there's the siren, and Hull have got out of jail, and it's Hull who go forward to face witness in a repeat of the 1989 Premiership final at Old Trafford next Sunday. Those Hull supporters can't believe it, neither can David Ward. 2 weeks ago, the joy and elation of a last-minute victory. Tonight, the despair of a last-minute defeat. They're on their way to Old Trafford, those black and white supporters. Carl Harrison, absolutely delighted. There's the way it's shaped up. The one try from Nolan, it was priceless. 3 goals from Eastwood, a try from Gunn, a goal from Irving, a drop goal from Schofield. 10 points to 7, Hull are at Old Trafford. Peter Hutton has got a delighted John Sharp with him.
John, what a great victory for you.
Yeah, absolutely superb. The boys never gave up all the way through. Leeds played well, they gave us a tough game. We were under no illusions how hard it would be, but it just showed the character of the boys today. Going back after we had a little bit of a disappointing run into the end of the season, but today it's been absolutely superb. It just showed that the boys never gave up right up until the end.
great teamwork, but also a great moment for Gary Nolan just after he'd come on the sub.
Yeah, that's right. A fairy tale game for Gary coming on and being the superstar in the end. Great.
Thanks a lot, John. Back to you, Ed.
John Sharp delighted. Hull 10, Leeds 7. Hull witness at Old Trafford next week.